We have a need to search out our Hebraic roots to discover what truth has been altered. This intensive study, still in progress since 2007, has gathered scattered and hidden pearls of knowledge that prove to be truth and put them together in these series of teachings. Not everything that a particular ministry teaches is wrong, but on the other hand, neither is everything taught by man entirely correct, including my teachings. Only one, and that is Yeshua, was truth incarnate. His original words were entirely correct always. Not everybody has all the truth, but we are allowed to study, discern, and glean the truth from those around us. Shalom, my friends. This is Deception Part 4. We'll now briefly examine the proof of some of our claims and what has been added to the scriptures or our faith is pagan feast days of Christmas and Easter. Many pagan, non-biblical, heathen religious practices became a part of the early church's theology. In addition, anything Jewish was done away with or altered because of pressure from Rome. Not conforming to these measures meant certain persecution or death in the early days. Malachi 3:6. For I am Yahweh, I do not change. Because of this, you sons of Jacob are not destroyed. Yahweh does not change. Doesn't change his word for anybody. Deuteronomy 12:30-32. Take heed to yourself that you not be snared to follow them after they have been destroyed before you, and that you not inquire after their gods, saying, how did these nations serve their Elohim? And I shall do so even I. You shall not do so to Yahweh, your Elohim, for everything hateful to Yahweh, which he detests, they have done to their gods. For they have even burned their sons and their daughters in the fire to their gods. All the things that I command you, take heed to do them, and you shall not add to nor take away from it. So again, Yahweh says we're not to add to or take away from his word. He's not going to change. He knew what would happen in the future. He's not going to say, well, you're now more modern than before, so now I'll change things. No, what he's written, what he's put down, he says, I will not change. And you're not to add to or you're not to remove. Jeremiah 10:2-5. So says Yahweh, do not learn the way of the nations, and do not be terrified at the sign of the heavens, for the nations were terrified at them. For the customs of the people are vanity, for one cuts a tree out of the forest with the axe, the work of the hands of the craftsman. They adorn it with silver and with gold, they fasten it with nails and hammer, so that it will not wobble. They are upright as the palm tree, and they cannot speak. Carrying they must be carried, because they cannot walk. Do not be afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither is them to do good. So way back in Jeremiah's time, they had what we call Christmas trees, and they even worshipped them. It's interesting with a Christmas tree, if you have a Christmas tree in your house, and you're getting ready for Christmas, and you put all the presents down before the tree, what do? You kneel down before the tree as you put the present down there, and as you pick the present up, the people come and they kneel down before the tree and pick it up. They don't know what they're doing. We're repeating what the pagans did. Deuteronomy 12:1-4. These are the statutes and the judgments which you shall take heed to do in the land which Yahweh, the Elohim of your fathers, has given to you, to possess it all the days that you live on the earth. You shall completely destroy all the places where the nations which you are dispossessing serve their gods, on the high mountains, on the hills, and under every leafy tree. And you shall break down their altars and scatter their standing pillars, and you shall burn their Ashereths with fire, and you shall cut down the carved images of their gods, and shall destroy their names out of that place. You shall not do so to Yahweh, your Elohim. So he doesn't want us to copy any of the pagan ways, the ways they worship their gods, their tree gods or whatever it was, and he doesn't want us to do the same. But we've been deceived into actually doing it without even knowing it. Jeremiah 17:9. The heart is deceitful above all things and is incurable. Who can know it? John 4:23-24. But an hour is coming, and now is, when the true worshippers will worship the Father in spirit and in truth. For the Father also seeks such, the ones worshipping him. Elohim is spirit, and the ones worshipping him must worship in spirit and truth. So Yahweh wants us to worship him in truth, not in deception. He's going to reveal the truth to us, and he started to do it these days. The truth is coming out. We are finding out where we've been deceived. Where we've been deceived into worshipping other gods, not knowing what we're really doing. And he wants us to worship him the proper way, and to do away with all these pagan symbols and pagan ways of worshipping. 1 Thessalonians 5:21-22. Prove all things, hold fast that which is good, keep back from every form of evil. So Yahweh knew what was going to happen, and he put warnings in the scriptures. We have to study the scriptures to find out what way he wants us to live, where we've been deceived. He says, prove all things, prove them. Hold fast that which is good. We've got to find out what is good and what is bad. Get rid of the bad and only keep the good. And keep back from every form of evil. We don't realise even just a Christmas tree is a form of evil. We put in our churches and we put in our houses at Christmas time. Mark 7:9-13. And he said to them, well do you to set aside the commandments of Yahweh, so that you may establish your own tradition. Man's tradition, not his tradition. Christmas and Easter are not God's tradition. Yahweh's traditions is his feast days. They're the ones we're to celebrate. He never established Christmas and Easter. He wasn't even born. Yeshua was never even born at Christmas time in December. Making the word of Yahweh of no effect by your tradition which you delivered, and many such like things you do. So here Mark setting out a warning. But unfortunately man has formed a lot of traditions, which are basically a lot of them have come down from the Roman Church and been carried on even into the Pentecostal churches, all sorts of different Christian churches, and we're following their traditions, not Yahweh's traditions. Isaiah 5:20-21. Woe to those who say to evil good and to good evil, who put darkness for light and light for darkness, who put a bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Woe to those wise in their own eyes, discerning in their own sight. So the church has basically said, it's a good thing to have Christmas. They've made something which is bad into good. And Yahweh warns us in Isaiah 5:20-21. Woe to those who say to evil good and to good evil. And we basically said to evil things, it's good. We'll compromise. Christmas. December the 25th was observed far and wide among the ancient world. This day was the birthday of the unconquered sun. In Europe, the Saxons offered a boar in sacrifice to the sun to propitiate the Queen of Heaven on Christmas Day. The boar in pagan mythology was supposed to have slain the false pagan Messiah. The boar was also a major article of the Feast of Saturn at Rome. The boar's head is still a standing dish in England at Christmas dinner. And Yahweh actually in his dietary laws says don't eat pig. The pagan festival at the winter solace, in other words Christmas, was held in honour of the birth of the Babylonian Messiah. In actual fact, most pagan gods were born on Christmas Day. The largest pagan religious cult which fostered sun worship in the Greek and Roman world on December the 25th was the cult of Mithraism. They called it the Nativity of the Sun. Mithras, the sun god, was supposed to have been born at this time, but so were Osiris, Horus, Tammuz, Hercules, Bacchus, Adonis, and Jupiter, all the pagan messiahs. The fact alone would seem to indicate that all these pagan sun gods and deities trace their roots back to the original sun god of ancient Babylon, Nimrod. So here's all these pagan deities, gods, their birthdays were 25th of December. Can't you see how it's been substituted? Evil for good. This popular winter festival became such an established custom that in pagan Rome and Greece, Egypt and throughout Europe, the period of the winter solstice was a time of great revelry and festivity. In Rome it became known as the Saturnula, in honour of the god Saturn, the hidden one. Saturn was another name for Nimrod, who late in his apostasy went into hiding from Shem, the son of Noah. The feast of Saturn, Hyslopads, lasted 5 days. Loose reins were given to drunkenness and revelry. Slaves had a temporary emancipation and used all manner of freedom with their masters. This was precisely the way in which the drunken festival of the month Thebeth, answering to our December, in other words, the festival of Bacchus, was celebrated in Babylon. Looking at a chapter in Jeremiah in conjunction with decorating a Christmas tree, the custom of the people are vain, for one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workman with an axe. They deck it with silver and gold, they fasten it with nails and hammers, that it moves not. They are upright as the palm tree and speaketh not. Jeremiah 10:3-4. By the way, have you ever tried to put a gift or receive a gift from under a large Christmas tree without first bowing down to the tree? Christmas is not a Christian way of celebrating his birthday. Yahweh was not born on December the 25th, it was more like September at the Feast of Tabernacles. Feast of Tabernacles is the day we are commanded to celebrate. Easter. Easter was the pagan god of fertility in ancient Babylon. That was her name. It is believed that she came down from the sky, and when she rested upon the water to prove that she was a god, she turned a bird from the sky into an egg-laying rabbit. The celebration of Easter is a pagan holiday. As for eating a ham on Easter Sunday, that is in remembrance of Tammuz, the son of the sun god, who was killed by a wild boar while hunting. And dyeing Easter eggs comes from priests impregnating young virgins and taking the infant and killing them and dipping the egg in their blood. Yeshua Jesus did not rise from the dead on Easter Sunday, but on the Sabbath. Mark 16:9, the modern King James Version. And when Yeshua Jesus had risen early the first day of the Sabbath, he appeared first to Mary Magdalene, out of whom he had cast 7 demons. Mark 16:9 in the HRB, the Hebraic Roots Bible. And having risen and now early on the first of the Sabbath count to Shavuot, he first appeared to Mary Magdalene, from whom he had cast 7 demons. So Easter is not a Christian celebration. John 21. The first of the Sabbaths, Mary Magdalene came early to the tomb, darkness still being on it, and she saw the stone taken away from the tomb. So Yeshua never rose on Easter Sunday. He rose on the Sabbath, Yahweh's day, the day Yahweh blessed. He didn't bless any other day bar the Sabbath. Yeshua Jesus was also not crucified on Good Friday and risen on Sunday, because there had to be 3 days and 3 nights in the grave. Refer to teaching number 3. Matthew 12:39 in the New King James Version. But he answered and said to them, an evil and adulterous generation seek after a sign, and no sign will be given it to except the sign of the prophet Jonah. For as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the great fish, so will the Son of Man be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. Exodus 23:13. And in all things that I have said unto you, be circumspect, and make no mention of the name of other gods, neither let it be heard out of thy mouth. We break this instruction every time we say Happy Easter, because Easter is the name of a pagan god or goddess, bare-breasted fertility goddess. Leviticus 19:11, you shall not steal nor lie nor deceive a man to another. We break this commandment when we lie to our children about the traditions of Christmas and Easter. We lie to our children when we talk about Santa Claus. We're breaking the commandments every time we lie. So don't be deceived. Check out His Word. Check out the Torah for yourselves. Understand what He's saying. Understand that the devil has twisted a little bit here and a little bit there to deceive us, to make us sit at ease and not work out our salvation with fear and trembling. We have to make some hard decisions, but really they're not hard, they're easy. Because in the end the prize is eternal life. The biggest prize there ever is, worth more than millions of dollars in this earth. We keep forgetting our prize is eternal life, living with Yahweh, who loves us so greatly that He Himself came down as the Son and died and suffered for us, so that we would have a chance to get into His kingdom, to live with Him for eternity. So don't let the devil deceive you. Check it out. Yahweh bless you and keep you. Yahweh make His face shine upon you and be gracious to you. Yahweh lift up His countenance upon you and give you peace. Shalom. Yahweh bless you and keep you. Yahweh make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. Yahweh lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Shalom.